I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at sorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Ben and Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch, indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear
You guys
listener.
know what it is. It's unsigned hype time.
Unsigned
Yes.
freaking hype, dear listener.
It's time for us to experience a brand new band.
Yeah, you guys are in for, in my opinion, a really, really good treat.
I mean, we can't hear the song before it starts, but we can see what the album cover looks like, and it looks legit.
Right, and people email us, when they've got a band review coming up and stuff. So, like, listening to this guy, looking at some of the things that he says. I mean, I'm gonna post some of what he's written to us.
I put the whole thing in the description.
But you guys are in for, all of this is in the description. Mm-hmm. Whoa. You guys are in for a serious treat, y'all. The name of the band is Shūnyatā. The name of the song is The Path.
Pay attention to the enunciations that are in the description.
Very important, so as to not confuse them with other bands. Not as good as him, but other bands have probably a similar name. The term Shūnyatā is a Buddhist
Okay, I think that the
term,
line over the top makes the letter say its name, right?
Oh, okay.
And then, what is it? So, it would be Shūnyatā.
Shūnyatā. Is it te or ta?
I think that the line over it means it says it's the letter of the I think it means it says its name.
Gotcha.
Shūnyatā.
I say Shūnyatā.
You
she
tell
says
us.
Shūnyatā.
Well, you can't be right though. There's something
kinda-
wrong with yours because there's the same line above. So if it's you're saying you're saying the U for that one.
No, I'm saying Shūnyatā.
And then
Shūnyatā. So I'm taking the low U and the low A. Like but.
Okay. Oh, but.
Right?
Go for it. Yeah.
But
okay.
no, but yeah.
Not really, but that's all right.
All right,
We'll let
guys.
the listeners
We will
decide.
fight about the name of the band. Ian Kirby in the house. All right. I like the new thingy, Ian.
Okay, so let's read the write-up. He's got plenty of stuff to tell us
let's read the
about it.
write-up, guys. Here we
Very
go.
Interesting.
All right, here we go. This is the band Shūnyatā. The name of the song specifically is The Path. The name of the record is The Dark Age. They're a black metal band. This record came out September 8th of this year, so a couple days ago, literally within this week. Album release was September 8th through Black Lion Records. This is a black metal band called Shūnyatā, and make sure we're using the accent marks. We've got the lyrics there. We're going to put them on the screen. And the person who actually suggested this song to us is actually
Sean.
Valkuvatka.
Who's in the band, right?
Who's actually in the band.
Yep.
So he's got a really interesting story. And I want to read it. Should I read it before or after we hear the song? I think we should read it before.
Well, I thought he said read everything before.
Oh, okay.
I thought that's what I
So okay, so this is Sean, who's actually a drummer and the lyricist in this band. I spent the year 2017 with a shaved head and robes, living under temporary monastic vows at a Buddhist monastery.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy. Like, dude was really about it. At some point during this training year, I decided not to take the lifetime monastic vows. That's when it was decided with Noel to make a black metal project for when I returned to New England.
Okay.
I began, against the rules of the monastic order, to sneak off to strum an old acoustic guitar to compose music.
Nice.
Inspired by the rugged wilderness and surrounding the abbey, its contemplative training and practices, and the difficult process of returning to our materialistic society.
Wow.
I poured these experiences into
Music.
the music.
Oh, wow. Okay,
so,
that's
like,
beautiful.
he was going to try his hand at being like a Buddhist monk.
Yeah.
Yeah, a Buddhist monk. He was in a monastery doing a thing.
Yeah.
And then he decided, not for me. Let me go jump in a black metal band.
Where'd you get that guitar to begin with?
This dude, that's like some shit I would do. Like, all right. The name of the song.
It's The Path. The Path is about glimpses of realization that gleam from
Intensive.
meditation practice and retreat in remote natural landscapes. The sacrifice and struggle to achieve true realization, disappointment from periods of stagnation, frustration with spiritual obstacles, the sadness of returning to society, and the doubts, wow, that's crazy, and the doubt that realization can be achieved in modern culture, were all inspiration for the somber riffs and lyrics of this song. The lyrics were written on retreat, while the guitar parts were written shortly after returning to society.
Wow.
Okay. Then we've got About.
Shorter version. A song about intensive practice while on the retreat. The shades of the non-dual experiences that can occur from meditation retreats, and the struggle to integrate that kind of insight into our modern, hectic life.
That's such an interesting... I do think about that a lot. Like, is it possible to have that level of... But anyway.
Right.
Okay, so can you want to...
Shūnyatā is usually translated as emptiness. This translation is a little bit misleading, as in the West, emptiness is usually equated with the nihilistic idea of nothingness, but a better translation would be non-thingness. A thing is stagnant. Robert Thurman, a famous Buddhist scholar, likes to joke that nothing is by definition the only thing that doesn't exist. I agree. Mingor Rinpoche, for example, says that emptiness does not mean a void or a vacuum. Emptiness in Buddhism means that all compound phenomena are empty of one, permanence, they are subject to change, and two, independence, meaning such phenomena are interdependent, and three, indivisibility. Such phenomena can be broken down into smaller parts in the same way mathematically. No matter how small a line you are looking at, it always has an infinite number of possible points within it. Being empty of these qualities is what allows for all the possibilities in different forms of phenomena we see. If any quality of a person, for example, were permanent, it would be petrified like cold dead stone. In this way, emptiness is actually the seed of all possibility. The middle way in Buddhism is not supposed to fall into either externalism or nihilism. Eternalism being the belief that things are permanent, solid, unchanging, invisible, etc. Nihilism being the idea that nothing means anything. There's no pattern or point to anything. It's all nothingness and pointless in one sense or another. Nonetheless, if I am being honest, I often find myself struggling with existential nihilism and doubts in my faith and path, much like some Christians have a struggle with their own faith, Kierkegaard being a favorite and famous example I like. So my lyrics and music often slide into feelings of hopelessness and nihilism, which are not really part of the Buddhist faith or philosophy, but have found a part of my own personal path now, and for a long time before I found my way to Buddhism. Buddhism does offer practices for lay practitioners or non-monastics that in Mahayana Buddhism are said to be as effective as those for the people in the monastic path. For myself, I know that you will have many Christian points to debate what I have put here, and I look forward to whatever you have to say, and also your thoughts on the music as well. And no worries if you don't like it. Honesty is always appreciated. Thank you from the big homie Sean Valukatava. Hold on. It's Valukatva. I think it's Valukatva. I'm going with Valukatva as the last one. Valukatva wrote that to us. It was very involved. You can see that this dude takes the music extremely seriously. That is the overarching context, dear listener, for what we're about to hear.
All right, so we're going to jump in now.
Band, here we go.
And let's check this out.
We're going to check it out right now, inshallah. Here we go. Shūnyatā, Dawn. Let's do it. Good to see it.
Wow.
That was the song. Okay, so the
Whoa.
name of this band is Shūnyatā. And the name of that song was The Path. What are you
Yeah.
thinking about, Sori?
I mean, I thought that the production of it was like right off the bat. Anytime it's going to be black metal, first of all, everybody knows I'm not a giant fan of black metal. So I thought it was going to have like that kind of bad production sound that black metal usually does. Which sometimes I'm like, is that on purpose or is it they just didn't have a good producer? You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
right,
I'm not
right,
really
right.
sure. And sometimes I'm like, is it on purpose or is that part of the I don't know. But this one, like the sound quality was right there. It was exactly where it should be, in my opinion. Musically, I liked I felt like now, and I am kind of curious to know if I wouldn't have read his thing first, would I have still experienced the song the same way? So like it's black metal, usually not a giant fan of it, but then as it was playing, it just sort of had like this kind of soothing sound to it, which I'm guessing was kind of like his influences of being like in the monastery and having to calm
Right.
yourself.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that is an art. That's something that you learn, and it's something that if you practice it, it's, you know.
But it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know if this dude's ever going to be able to write this record again. Because, like...
Where he was? What do you say? What do you call that? A what moment? A connectic moment?
Right. It was just one of those... It was just one of those things where it's like, okay, he's in the monastery. So he wrote the lyrics in the monastery.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wrote the guitar parts separately.
Yeah.
He wrote the guitar parts while he was out in the world.
In the monastery.
But then he wrote the lyrics while he was in the monastery. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he was in this cloistered environment where people are taking vows. Everybody's like a very serious Buddhist, obviously.
But in that environment, he's breaking the rules out there.
He's breaking the rules. But just hold on. He's writing these lyrics in that environment, though.
Yeah.
The guitar parts, though, are done when he's back in society or the world.
So interesting.
So the context.
I have to say that is really
different.
interesting, because I felt that the sound of the instruments was more complex than the lyrics. That's so interesting.
Yeah, because
but in the monastery, simplicity is the thing.
Well, it started and ended with the
Yeah.
simplicity, right? And it's like that's kind of the journey dude is on, because like he's searching for some sort of peace or stasis. Because Buddhism is very interesting to me, because it seems to be. My prediction is that Buddhism, once all this UFO stuff really starts to take off,
Mm-hmm.
that there's going to be some sort of cosmic Buddhism. Is going to be sort of like the world.
Oh,
religion.
I'm sure.
It's going to be cosmic Buddhism. And I found that a lot of the Buddhist thought process is very... I think it's very impactful for a person caught up in just Western life, modern Western life. Especially
100%. I think people are tired. You know, that's kind of like, you hear everybody, there's so many people that are saying, I'm so tired, I'm exhausted. And like, when you look at that lifestyle, it's structured and it's difficult in its own ways, but there is a level of simplicity that you do get just based off the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I could see people coming to a point where they're like, that's what we should, you know, people, the pendulum always, you know.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Cobain would have done, like, it would have given him, like, an extra 5 years if he would have adopted a Buddhist mindset, I think. You know, obviously as a Christian, obviously I believe
Yeah, because
that.
he was living minimalistically, so maybe it would have.
Well, I think that that was one of his problems is that he was like trying to live as a minimalist, but like I don't think that minimalists are doing that as an end in itself. We're all searching for something. So whether you're a materialist or a minimalist, we're all searching for some sort of peace, some sort of balance, some sort of stasis, that type of thing. And so, like, to me, the materialist and the Buddhist are both looking for the same thing. You know, it's just the pathway is different. You know, the but where it gets tricky is that a person, when you say, "Oh, this person is materialistic," that automatically has a negative connotation to it.
Yeah,
right?
For most people, right? Yeah.
And so it's like,
yeah.
But then there's this weird, like I was in this atheist forum one time, and I was just trying to be. I wasn't trying to be a troll. There are times when I'm trying to be a troll, like I'm not gonna lie, but like this time I wasn't.
This time you weren't.
No, this time I was being sincere, dear listener. So I'm being sincere when I'm, you know, when I was talking about what I'm about to tell you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Well, you're looking at me like you don't believe that I'm going to be sincere.
Well, I mean, let me hear it, and I'll be the judge of what I think then.
Okay, but when I go into an atheist forum, I go, okay, how do you explain consciousness from a materialist presupposition?
Yeah.
Okay, and they go, not every atheist is a materialist, and I'm saying, well, I mean, by definition, you would have to be a materialist if you claim you believe in science and all the rest of it, and you're an atheist. Long story short, they thought I was talking about materialism like you want a 50 million square foot house or, you know, 15 jets like a, you know, like one of these pastors. They were not thinking about
you were trolling in there. I know
materialism as in the idea that the only things that are real are things that are extended in the physical universe.
Right.
That's materialism, right? It's like, but so they're not the same thing. But I wonder if they're not if one doesn't necessarily lead to the other, though. In other words, if all of reality is composed by material, and then I am a person of means who can accumulate more material than you, then how is it wrong to be a materialist if at the fundamental point of reality, all you have is material? In other words, all there's ever been has been material from a materialist worldview. So why is materialism wrong?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like, why is it an insult to be called a materialistic person if you live in a materialistic universe? Well,
I think we all know why.
But that's the problem. Like, and that's the problem that Kurt had. You know, being in a giant house and then like, holy shit, I got to live in a closet. You know, like because the big house was not getting him the peace that he.
Yeah.
But and I'm not even sure that he even thought the big house would do that. I think he thought music would do that.
Right.
I just think the things that came along with the music
he had to do
tormented him. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I kind of wondered if the reason that he got that big house is because it was what he was supposed to do. You're a big rock star. You got the money. You got the house. The you know what I mean.
Right.
Going along with but it clearly wasn't what was in his heart to do. Like it seems like he would have been better off just hanging out in a, you know.
Walking down the street in his little plaid shirt, but you can't do that when you're Kurt Cobain after you've written Smells Like Teen Spirit. You can't do that anymore.
Just feels so bad for those people. I would never want to be that famous.
Yeah.
Honest to God, when our YouTube channel started popping off at first, I started getting very concerned. I was like, are we going to go? Then I realized, wait, metal, that's a niche. That's not everywhere you go. It's not everywhere we go. There's people that recognize us.
Yeah.
But can you imagine?
Me too. It was the same thing.
Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit. You pop off with that. You're never gonna get any.
And you don't even think the song is that good. He didn't think the song was that good.
Yeah, that's.
He'd go entire sets and not play it. But again, like that's the thing. It's like how everybody's looking for that way of being happy and trying to find a way of like. Okay, where am I going to find my rest here?
So I've been thinking a lot about this topic, physical stuff, the reality of God, things like that, I was kind of thinking about why do physical things lose their luster to the degree that they do. You can have something that you're so excited about and you're looking forward to that thing, and then after X amount of time, you could either not care about that thing at all or hate that thing or it's in the trash or whatever. But like, why does the I think I have my answer, I think, why does the accruing of physical stuff eventually start like getting to some people? It's like it like really like starts to bother them, like when you start accruing it and it's so empty, like something about it like shows you the emptiness of it. I was thinking about it. Now my answer would be that everything that's good comes from God and it's supposed to lead us back toward God. So everything is a gift that he's giving to his people. And whether somebody acknowledges him or not, he's still passing out good things to all of the people that he made. And so my thought is that because he gives us stuff and that stuff is supposed to turn us back to him and be like, wow, God is really good. Look at this thing. Look at this, whatever. Like I talk to the kids about the shower, for instance. Not everybody has running water. We do. There's lots of things to thank God for. But we have running water. So I was like, some people have to take a bucket and they have to bring it and it's this big process. And I was explaining that and how we can just turn it on and make small little twists of the hand and we get the perfect temperature. I'm like, but God did that. Like God set that up for you. Like he gave people the ideas of how to do this, and the excitement and the joy that was on their faces as well as in my heart. It like made it like, oh wow, this is really cool. A regular shower became something almost like magical. And so I was wondering, like, how long if the intention of the gift is to get you to turn back toward the truest of all reality, which is God himself. If you don't do that and you just keep looking at the thing, and that thing is like making you happy for whatever amount of time, but then it just like starts losing itself because this was not the end in itself, or the relationship was not the end in and of itself. Like all those things were good gifts that were meant to lead us back toward the Almighty. And so that to me was like, that's got to be what it is. Like you can't have gift after gift after gift after gift, and it never brings you back to the ultimate end without it inevitably making you feel that empty sort of nothingness feeling. Like basically you start experiencing the thing for the reality that it is. Scientifically, a physical, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I was thinking about this interview I saw. I think it was YWAM.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about YWAM.
There were criticisms of YWAM is this basically Christian retreat. We're in Maine. We knew a girl that went to Australia for like 3 years with YWAM or whatever. It's like this very intensive, like all you do is pray, read your Bible, and preach to people. Like that's all they do, like for 3 years. And they're writing to their parents. They write home, and they're at these like obviously heights of spirituality and maturity and all these revelations. Then they get home, and it's like a giant crash. It's almost like you can mark it to the day. Like there's a giant crash because you're going out into the world. Nobody is as committed to the lifestyle as you, which is actually not true. It's just that you have obligations. You were going to a retreat for a couple years. Okay. The rest of us had obligations, so like the rest of us had we're living a certain kind of lifestyle that you had paused. Mm-hmm. And now that you're back from your YWAM vacation or whatever, now everything is back and people are people and people don't apologize. They don't say forgive me. They don't know Christianese. They don't know whatever. Nobody's as hardcore as you. And then they crash and then they backslide and then so it's like this whole
I think the other thing too is that when you're in environments like that, you inevitably start like kind of migrating toward doing the right thing because you're surrounded by people that are doing the right thing. Right. And then when you go back to like your regular life, like all the shitty things about you like are still there. You're like, wait a minute, I didn't miraculously become an amazing person. What's going on with this? I thought I was healed. What is happening? Right. And so like there's also that crash because you felt like, like this spiritual giant, like you were something amazing. And now you realize like, no, you solve your problems.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, no matter what anybody says, nobody really believes that we're only animals. Nobody believes that. Like, like I had a guy call me up one time on this show. He said, I said some chicken being killed and eaten is the same as a human being. He said, yeah, and I'm like, all right, so like KFC, like that's like the equivalent to the Holocaust. He said, yeah. I said, how many KFCs have you protested? How many KFCs have you? He's like, well, I don't want to impose my blah blah blah. I'm like, what are you like? Come on, man! Like nobody believes. Like,
that's
look,
crazy. That's when you know that people are on that bin shit where they're like, I'm not going to admit anything.
So
yes, KFC is the same as boiling a baby.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I said, oh,
yeah, like
that Trump syndrome thing.
That's why there's certain religions. There's certain religions and philosophies. I think Buddhism was one of them. That, like, you know what I think? I think like the easiest, like the way that major religions became major religions was that they put their finger on something that we all knew intuitively first.
Yep.
And put a series of explanations around things that we knew on the outside but didn't know the depth of, or knew
but wouldn't look
the
at.
Tip of the iceberg but didn't know what was under. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what religion does. Like all of us know that there's some sort of ghost in the machine. Mm-hmm. We know, there's a reason we call it the body when the person dies, but like 5 seconds earlier we were calling it Joe. Mm-hmm. You went from Joe to the body. We know, like, something is happening, and it is connected somehow to consciousness, but not completely wrapped up in consciousness. There's something very unique and strange and terrible and fascinating and beautiful and ugly about human beings that does not get replicated in any other being that we have interacted with thus far. Mm-hmm. And you got to contend with that philosophically or religiously, and so that's where these ideas pop up. But yeah, like the idea that I am only material, that I saw a meme one time, and it was just basically like a spinal cord, like your spinal column with the skull, and it was like, this is responsible for all of your ideas, and this is who you are, and all the rest of it. It was just like a really crazy meme, and I'm like, yo, there's people that really believe this shit. They really truly have brainwashed themselves into believing that that's absolute reality. That's just crazy to me. It's crazy. It's a crazy idea to me, but here it is. But like, so the struggle here between I don't want to say the pretend world, but the world of the monastery, which is a niche type of environment.
I'll tell you,
it's a super niche environment.
The college that I went to was essentially like that.
Right.
So when I was hearing your whole thing, I was like, this is interesting. And then when you were talking about, being out in the woods with like the guitar, so you were kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, essentially, because you weren't following them completely. But there was a part of you that was like, something doesn't set right here. For me, the college that I went to, I've always called it a cult. I've had more time to kind of think about the situation.
You haven't always called it a cult.
No, I haven't always called it. That's true. I have always called it a cult on this channel. I've mostly called it a cult. That's what I'm talking about, which that's all you guys have known me. I didn't call it a cult prior to that. I started calling it a cult a couple years ago because I did notice some cult-like things about them. Right. But at the same time, there was a sweetness about the place because life was essentially very simple. Your schedule was made for you. Food was on the table at a certain time. You had to be there. If you missed it, you missed it, and you were in trouble for missing it. You couldn't miss a certain amount of meals. They were worried about people with eating disorders and stuff. But anyway, like, I remember like that transitional period of going from like being there and I had decided that I was going to leave, but there's like a part of me that was like, should I leave? What if this is the wrong thing that maybe I'm supposed to stay and I'm like leaving some kind of like ultimate will by going and doing this thing. But I didn't really feel peace about staying. So I ended up leaving. But that transitional period was really weird, like coming back and like starting to go back to like regular church, because again, I was in this like hyper spiritual environment that everybody was going in the same direction, and now you're back in regular church where people are like, some people are there because they feel it's their obligation, some people are there because they're trying to learn something, some people are there because it's what they've done every other Sunday, some people are there because of their kids. Everybody's got their different reason for why they're doing it, but it was a weird transition. I think it started being like a pretty dark period for me, because I still had, like, I can understand what you're saying, like the way things were over there, but like, can that lifestyle fit in with the lifestyle outside of the walls of that place, or so to speak? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, I think it's really interesting to me when I think about Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism. And I'm specifically talking about our tradition relative to Christianity. Because it's very interesting when you're a real serious Muslim, you start dressing like an Arab from the 7th century.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're a serious Jew, like a really, really serious Jew, and you're really about that Judaism, you get to the Hasidic level, like, we know what you look like. You dress like a person from Poland in the, 1900. So it's like, so when I look at somebody who's like a serious Buddhist, like, or a serious Hindu, like our friend, like, they adopt the garb, sometimes the accents, which was kind of awkward for me, to be honest with you. I started laughing. I was like, "You're from Maine, dude. Like, what are you doing?" Like, yeah.
I'll tell you though, if I had to be in a works-based religion like that you have to go all in, I'd do the accent too. It would help me stay like, okay, let me stay focused on who I'm supposed to be here.
Right, and it keeps you separated from the riffraff. Which is religious people love having a riffraff to be separate from.
Yeah.
So it's like, so you put all that together. It's like, when a person's a serious evangelical, there's no dress code. See what I'm saying? And
was it my college?
My point in like Christianity kind of has an advantage by decentralizing everything.
Yeah.
There is no holy city in the New Testament.
Right.
It's in heaven.
Right.
Like, there's no, it explicitly states in Hebrews, here we have no lasting city. Like, there's a holy city in Islam, there's a holy city in Judaism, there's Tibet in, Buddhism, which is still kind of weird to me. Like, why do you care so much about freeing Tibet if you don't care about materialism? Like, it's not an argument, it's a question. It's a genuine question, because I'm sure they see the conflict. But like, it's stuff like that where I say, this is one of the reasons that evangelical Christianity is never going to die. It's because it's completely decentralized. It's completely delocated. There is no place where, if you do this, like, there is a whole like messianic strain of evangelicalism, but like, it's like, it's like, oh, if you know Hebrew, you're like some superstar or whatever. But like, yeah, this to me is like one of the strengths of Christianity, is that, there is no code. And so like, worship is supposed to look completely different in Africa than it does in Nebraska.
Yep.
It's supposed to be that way.
Yep.
Like, so, but when you're in a very extreme lifestyle like that,
that is such a good point. That is such a good point, because normally you would look at, are all the monasteries look the same? Do all the churches look the same?
Right.
But if you're doing Christianity right, it should not look the same.
Right.
And there should be a bit of a chaos element in all those environments.
It should be somewhat chaotic.
If it's too rigid, that means there's way too much law going on.
It should be somewhat chaotic.
That's so crazy.
I've been to a bunch of births, and they've never been the same. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was some organized chaos in a birthing unit. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I've been in churches where it's like, it seemed to be chaotic, but a lot of birthing happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in other places where, you know, funerals are very organized.
Yep.
I've been to a couple of those.
Not like the person can fight the time
They're
schedule. They're in a box.
But but that's always been the contrast. Like, how worldly do you make your religion, and how religious do you make your world?
Wow.
Or like the separation of church and state. It's all these separations that we have.
That's another good point.
Where it's like, because we have these separations, you now say, okay, because you have these separate things, we have to find some way to compromise to hold all these things in tension with each other. Whereas if you look at if you looked at the world as one giant thing, or God as one giant thing, then you're no longer trying to find ways to balance out two opposing ideas, but you're trying to find ways that the two opposing ideas work with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because the assumption is, even though you're on different sides of the same coin, there's only one coin. So we have to find where our perceptions are leading us to believe that we're against each other. Mm-hmm. That's the idea, right? So you get two completely different ways of looking at the world. And so when you're in a monastery and you're surrounded by people that are, that's the thing, is like everybody's thinking the exact same way you think.
See, and then that's what Jesus did. He came down here and he did something different, because he ate with the sinners, he ate with the tax collectors, and people started saying, look, he's just a drunk. Look at that guy. He's just over there with the prostitutes and blah, blah, blah. Like, he literally did, it's literally a different religion, because he doesn't separate himself from the people, but he became so a part of it. And that's what the church is supposed to look like. Right. You shouldn't see any difference. If the church is really doing, the biblical church is really being biblical, you're not going to see any difference between what you see. You're going to see minimal difference between what you see on a Sunday morning and what you see on a Wednesday get together with friends. They should be very similar. There's going to be a lot of talk about God because he is the central piece of our religion. There's going to be discussions about what he's been doing in your life, how things are going, negative, positive, whatever. Like but the one thing that is overarching in it, the entire thing, is how loving Christians are supposed to be. That's supposed to be the thing that, like, people are like, yeah, they must be a Christian. Look at those, when it's not being done correctly, then it's like the opposite of it. And there's, the crusades and all the stuff that's been done over the centuries that have been gone completely against the religion. Right.
Yeah, so it's an interesting, and the fact that it was written, with those,
I can't believe,
in those two different contexts, added something to it. I do wish, production-wise, I would love to hear a remastered version of this, especially with emphasis on the drumming, because the production did leave something to be desired. For
You're kidding me.
Yeah, I thought the song could have been 10 times better with some serious investment in production.
That's so weird how we both have different opinions on that.
Especially the area where they went into the bass.
Yeah.
Like that little section, I'm like, I get it. Love the simplistic lick. It worked so perfectly. But damn, if I could have heard some real deep bass, like if the rhythm section would have been really the focus on that part, it would have been crazy. I definitely love the concept. I love the context. I loved the fact that he wrote them in two different, like, that to me is like really, really special. I like the song, and obviously it instigated a pretty good long review. What are your thoughts?
For me, I think that, like the vibe of the song itself was something that was super relatable to me, that, that transitional period between the monastery and regular life, and trying to like at the cult, I was literally thinking about this the other day. This is so weird, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway, because who the fuck cares? So when I was at the Bible college, you had to wear, like, literally, they called them butt covers. You had to tie stuff around your waist to cover your butt, because instead of working on the guys with their lust issues, it was having the women just cover up more. So that was like put me in a real tailspin when I came back to like regular life, because I'm going from a Bible college where the guys aren't even supposed to speak to you. Now it's regular life. Guys are coming up to me.
Wait, they weren't allowed to speak to you?
No, they couldn't talk to us. They could say hi and bye. That's literally all you could say. Unless it was like, once every couple months they did a fellowship where you had to sit at the table and talk to the guys. Everybody's anxiety was through the friggin' roof because you weren't allowed to talk, and now all of a sudden you're thrown in a room and now you're supposed to talk. It's a very weird environment. Anyway, so this butt cover thing. So I was working at the grocery store, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to be up on ladders, all kinds of stuff. People are going to look at you. They always do. So you're going to be in this situation. So I decided to wear the butt cover to work. Somebody was like, they were like, sorry, what is going on? What is this? Because not only that, but I was on top of that, I was wearing like a pair of pants that was like 4 sizes too big, because I was like really trying to be on the safe side because I didn't want to screw this up. Anyway, long story, it was just weird, and it was weird. I was weird. And I just remember that period. And so like when you're talking about it, or like the song, first when I read your read up and then hearing the song, like I just remember like, how was your family during that time period? Like, did they understand the transition you were going? Were they supportive of it? Were they weird around it? Were your friends, how were they weird? I was weird around my friends when I came back. Like, I look back and there's so many things that like people will say on the channel, like if all Christians were like you guys, I'd be a Christian. And then I think to myself, yeah, you guys would not have liked Sorry from like 7 years ago.
No.
At all. I've come a long way. Anyway, so I appreciated the song even more because it was interesting to see that regardless of what environment you're in, when you're in that strange transitional period, when you're going from one extreme to like the world, when you're in a very spiritual environment seems like it's an extreme. And so going through that transition and how that is, and like coming through to the other side of it, but still being at the place where you're at, where you're like, I'm still having these questions. This stuff is not very cleared up for me. I still have some stuff that's not going away. And I think that's a really awesome place to be, and an honest place to be, because even though you chose to be in a very spiritual environment, like you were ready to like give it all up, maybe when it came down to it, that was your plan. It seems like that's what your plan was. But at the end of it, there was something in you that it just couldn't, those pieces just couldn't stick together. And that's why you started with the guitar, and that's why you kind of were getting off and like doing these different things. And so that's one thing, is I think that anybody that is on a real true pursuit of truth, they're going to find it, because truth is a person, and that person wants to be found. Like, truth wants to be known. Truth doesn't want to hide in a darkened room with false lies just floating all over the place. So truth is a person, and he's going to find you if you're interested in finding him. So I love that. I love the way that you're super extreme about like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to do this. I'm going to a monastery. Like, you're going all in. And you know, that's the type of person that can just do crazy stuff when you actually find the pieces that really fit. And you find that one and you guys fit. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good thing. It's going to be a really, really good time. You'll be in for the ride of your life. But for now, we're on this review. I love what you're doing with your music. I thought the production was great. I don't know, maybe I was too focused on the concept, and wanting to like catch every word that you were saying. Yeah, when you like a
person, it'd be a real long time before you find something. Well, I don't know. Maybe the 8th note in the 2nd movement there could have been a little bit more rustic.
It's possible. But anyway, the beginning. So like Vinny's song, we're doing a song. We've got it. It's like 98% done. We just got to get to a studio because he wants good production. So
yeah, I don't want to spend a lot of money on production.
Yeah. So when we're doing this,
that's
like the
because I
beginning
have
of the
very
song,
little talent.
I disagree with that, but the beginning of the song,
my production has to be up there. You can get away with a lot of shit. You can get away with it because he's got the talent. But I'm telling you, the song would be like next level, I think, with some.
So I've noticed that the beginning and the end
section.
of a
Make
song
it a little bit warmer. Go ahead.
Can be a little bit different than the middle of the song. And the beginning of your song is like a friggin' banger. The way that you changed it, I love it. Every time I start it, literally, I've heard the song so many times. Isabel, yeah. Oh. Every time I start it and it starts out with that sound, I'm like, woo! I start getting excited right away.
Can you imagine doing that shit live?
Word, no, I can't. I can hardly. Anyway, but the point is,
whoa, too hard.
I liked the beginning of your song, the way that you started it out. There was just the way that I'm actually going to listen to it again because I liked it. When I hear a certain part of a song and I look at an item in the room, it like solidifies it. So I'm going to have you re-listen to it again. I looked at the side of the pack and play and I listened to the sound, and it just like the sound and the picture just kind of like, anyway, it was beautiful. I liked it. I'm not a black metal person, like pretty much at all. So this, Well, you go first.
Go ahead.
I'm giving this one a solid 8.9. I think that it was well done. I liked it.
I'm going to give this a 9.2. I really liked it lyrically. It was very provocative. I cannot get over it was like writing in two different worlds, two different eras. I just thought that was so brilliant and opened up a lot of thought processes for me as a musician or whatever. But yeah, I'm very curious to hear more from this band. Very curious. Nine. Go ahead.
Oh, what do you get? 9.2, right?
Yeah.
Full disclosure, if there was a way to like click a button, pause time, be sitting in some like very relaxing environment, very like wonderful with the homie and you and me, and then we just have that discussion and like just dig through that whole time period and talk about it and find the comparisons, and like I would love to hear more about that whole journey. Such a crazy because it's the same journey as what I have, but different.
That would be a cool convo.
Yeah, and the way that you ask questions and we go anyway. But we can't do that. We don't know how to stop time yet. So if anybody knows how to do that, let us know in the comments section.
There you are, dear listener.
Right,
if you want to get your band reviews, there's ways to do it. Vinatory@gmail.com.
Or jump on Patreon. There's a unsigned hype.
Really good songs. Shūnyatā, check them out. There's more stuff there. They've got a Bandcamp.
Link in the description for all their stuff.
They've got all the info for this band is in the description. Much love to all you beautiful people. Vin out.